Welcome to Just Ask Julia. My name is Liz Helton, and today we are going to be covering what makes you unstoppable, a SWOT analysis for your career. Let's get started. So what is a personal SWOT analysis? Most of us know the term SWOT analysis from college in a Business 101 class, for instance, where you were learning how a company's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats could impact its overall success in the short and long term. It's a great way to assess what is going on both internally and externally that can help with planning and strategic road mapping. We can take this same principle and apply it to ourselves and our careers. By using a SWOT analysis, we can assess these 4 areas, strengths and weaknesses, which are internal, and our opportunities and threats, external, to make informed career and personal growth decisions. Your strengths are the internal and positive forces that are your unique qualities, skills, experience, the things that set you apart. These are what you come to be known for, where you feel like you're an absolute rock star. So when you're thinking of what do I put in my strengths quadrant in a SWOT analysis, I want you to think, what am I naturally good at? What do others consistently praise me for? What skills or expertise make you stand out in your field? What achievements are you most proud of? And what are the tasks or responsibilities that energize you? I want you to compile a list of the things that you feel most confident about. These are going to be soft skills, like communication, leadership and decision making, problem solving, critical thinking, the behavioral traits, but also the wins. I want you to find some specific wins that you feel really proud of that you would duplicate if you could over and over again. Also, what are the things, the activities at work that you want to do more of, that you want to invest in yourself in, that you want to be seen as or to build into your personal brand? What is it that makes you feel like a powerhouse? Think of both examples and the traits that are going to combine, make you very aware of what you have gotten and the experiences that you have had that make. Now, when we think about your strengths and your weaknesses, an important way to articulate these is by giving example. And oftentimes in an interview, you will hear, use the STAR method to tell me about a time when. Now, the STAR method is the common practice and the common format for giving an example to something, whether it's in an interview, a presentation of any kind. It's a great way to break down your response so that the audience can take in the information in bite-sized pieces, right? If you don't know the acronym, STAR stands for situation, task, action, result. And that's usually where it stops. But here at Career Transformation Partners, we have a second R, and that is reflect. Now, reflection is how you are going to tie this back in. What did you learn? Now, when you're thinking about your strengths, I also want you to use the STAR method to back it up, especially when you're looking at those soft skills. Use your soft skills to then be a jumping off point for an example that you give using the STAR method. Here's a great breakdown for an individual who was tasked with a new product launch under a tight deadline, facing some communication issues. Their role in this was to improve communication among the team members to keep the project on track. The actions they took, these are the tangible, the tactical things, the weekly meetings, implementations, project management tool, continuous feedback, open feedback, and then of course their results. What did they get out of the project? Now, the most important thing is what did they learn, which is the value of proactive communication, structured project management, and enhancing effectiveness in leading teams under pressure. This is a great almost mini case study for the individual to showcase one of the big impacts of their career, but also that communication and leading teams under pressure is a strength of theirs. The STAR method is incredibly important when you are leveraging your stories. This is going to be how you want to give examples in interviews, in reviews. Think about using this the next time that you are putting together examples of your strengths. On the flip side of this are your weaknesses. Now, weaknesses are internal and the negative. These are the areas where you maybe lack skills or experience or maybe just confidence. They're maybe you considered your gaps. It's where you might need to create an action plan in order to move ahead. In order to really be honest with ourselves, we want to think through and ask ourselves questions about what professional tasks do I struggle with? What are the gaps that are holding me back? What am I consistently getting feedback on that I need to work on? Are there limiting beliefs that are prohibiting my success? And what do I avoid because I just lack confidence in it? We all have those things in our jobs and in our life where we would happily delegate them to anybody else, whether that is a simple task at work, maybe it's something administrative. Is it something that you maybe wait or procrastinate on till the absolute last minute and therefore don't perform at your best because maybe you're not strong in it or you're not confident in it, or that you need to learn something more of? Having this awareness can be really impactful to how you navigate your career. It can also be about the soft skills that you feel are maybe not your superpowers, your strengths. So things like public speaking and anxiety, difficulty with time management, maybe the industry specific things that we've talked about, but also do you struggle with delegation of work? These are all examples of things that you can list as your weaknesses. Now, just like with the strengths, I want you to think about both your soft skills that need support or growth, as well as some examples of times that you maybe struggled and needed to work through something. Okay, and let's talk about an example of how to break a weakness down into the STAR method. Let's take a look. So, leveraging the STAR method, just like we did with strengths, we can also do this for the weakness quadrant in your SWOT analysis. So with a STAR method for a weakness, you want to be aware. You want to have an awareness of what went wrong. Again, this is kind of presenting a miniature case study for yourself. And just like you would in a business practice or a group project, a mini case study is going to tell you the good, the bad, the ugly, and what you learned, what you're going to take into the next situation, right? So in this situation, a project manager at a software development team needed to deliver a critical update for a high-profile client under a tight deadline. In the task, this person was responsible for coordinating the team, managing the timeline, but their weakness is that they really struggled with micromanagement. Call out that weakness. Where did that weakness really stem from? Let's talk about the actions that they took. They frequently intervened, caused the team frustration, and we talk about how they improved. Implementing daily check-ins for the team, right, so that they could feel like they still had an understanding of what was going on. They got to the root of why they were micromanaging, and then we're able to talk about progress and challenges, but it gave the team enough runway to be able to navigate the project on their own and gain that trust in their manager, right? So the result in this is that they were then able to kind of foster collaboration and led to project completion on time, under budget, that kind of thing. Now, the important piece, the reflection piece of this, is that this individual learned the importance of trust and delegation and some tools that they were able to implement to be able to satisfy their need to have an understanding of what was going on, but to still give their team the runway that they needed to get the job done without feeling like they were being pressed by their manager or overmanaged by that individual. Now, when we flip to the bottom half of your SWOT analysis, we're going to start talking about the external factors. First up are the opportunities. Opportunities are the positive external things. These are the things that are maybe out of your control, but they are ways for you to grow, advance your career, gain new skills or insight. These are going to be things like industry trends, networking, professional development, changes in the job market, right? Where are the opportunities for you to take a pivot on your road, right? So this section is going to require a little bit of research, right? I want you to think about trends or shifts in the industry. What are the emerging skills or technologies that you can learn? What networking and mentorship opportunities can you pursue? So I want you to think about, when I think of mentorship, I want you to think about not just who can be a mentor to you, but who can you be a mentor to, right? My counterpart, Julia, often talks about her recruiting days and how she would always ask in an interview candidates to tell her about a time when they mentored someone. Better yet, tell me about 3 people that you've mentored. And the reason for that is because mentorship can present itself in a lot of ways. You may be an individual contributor for your entire career, but you can serve as a mentor and be a guiding post to someone in a lot of different capacities. I want you to look for those opportunities to not just gain support from someone, but to give that support to others as well. And then, of course, reflecting on these strengths, where are the opportunities to raise your hand and take on more new opportunity, and leverage those strengths, leverage those things that were your powerhouses, as well as how can you turn those weaknesses into growth opportunities. That weakness quadrant, the secret behind it is it's just begging to be put into that opportunities quadrant. It's just begging to be worked on, to be improved upon. So opportunities are really about maximizing your strength and supporting your weakness. Okay, here's a few examples of opportunities. Certifications and training programs, of course, are easy, low-hanging fruit for you to sign up for, gain that new experience. Expanding your professional network, like your LinkedIn profile, mentorship and offering guidance, leadership, industry changes, doing that research, right? Finding those new in-demand skills. And then, of course, finding your personal passion that aligns with career opportunity. What's your heart's desire in your personal life, and how can that be turned into your professional life? Threats are the external factors that can hinder your success. These are things that are completely out of your control, and while we can't necessarily predict what's going to happen, we can certainly have an awareness around what might be coming down the road so you can stay on course. So when it comes to threats, I want you to think about things like what industry changes and trends could negatively impact your career. Who's your biggest competition in the job market? What type of candidate is seen as more appealing option when it comes to the type of role that you're pursuing? Are there economic or maybe company changes that could affect your job security? And then lastly, what personal challenges could limit your career growth? I want you to think about what is going on both in your professional life as well as your personal life that could slow down your career success. We all have things that, for better or for worse, are going to take us away from the best parts of what we're doing with our job, and we can't always control it, but if we're aware and have a plan, that's going to help. So some examples and some things to think about. We've got, industries that are automating jobs or utilizing AI. Think about how that's coming into play and have a really strong awareness, because AI in reality can't always replace a human, but a human who understands that as a threat and can prepare and understand it as a tool could replace the candidate who does not. I want you to think about how saturated the job market is, and how strong the competition is in the job market right now. Well, I used to tell people you have maybe 3 to 6 months worth of padding when you're planning for a job change or you're in the midst of a job search. Now we're seeing candidates go 6 months, yeah, easy, but closer to a year and a year plus is also very common right now in today's job market. Seeing what the industry looks like is incredibly important. Understanding if your company is downsizing or restructuring, check out the list. thanks to the WARN Act, companies now have to disclose. So if you look up the WARN Act, you're going to be able to find a list of companies who have to disclose if they are planning a layoff within a certain amount of time. So check that out to see if your company is going to be impacted anytime soon, and keep checking it on a fairly regular basis. Implementing your SWOT analysis can be done in different ways depending on your need within your career and personal development. So let's talk about 3 different ways that you can implement this exercise to take your career to the next level. So starting with your current job, when it comes to your strengths, we want to focus on the skills and the tasks that are going to leverage your superpowers. We want you to be raising hands for things that are going to showcase what is the way forward for you in the most powerhouse way possible. I also want you to seek opportunities to take on leadership or mentorship in those areas where you know those skills shine. When it comes to your weaknesses, there's a way for you to communicate those weaknesses and to seek feedback around the things that you are actively working on. It's okay to say, hey, I know that this is something that I am not a superhero around, but I want to make sure that I am performing in the best way possible. I want to be working with my team in the best possible way, and having an awareness and asking for feedback on that is incredibly important. The second piece of this is to be seeking teammates and to be seeking the support and developing teams when you're given the opportunity that are going to balance your strengths and weaknesses. So if you are in a position where you are looking in expanding a team or building a team and developing a team, look around at the strengths and weaknesses of both yourself and the teams around you to see where can you balance that strength of power, and having a way to kind of even the scale a little bit. Because if you have a team that 100% is super analytical but can't necessarily be creative, you're not going to have a lot to do with that insight and intel, right? Versus if you have a team that's incredibly creative but just doesn't know how to dig into the information, you're not going to know what direction to go. So it's important to find a balance within that team. So when it comes to your current role, working on filling in the skill gaps, both for yourself and how you are developing, as well as the strength of the team around you, is going to help create a more cohesive work environment. When it comes down to the external factors, the opportunities, I want you to volunteer for new projects and things that are going to help you shine. Networking internally and raising your hand and going after things that can help position yourself for the type of promotion that is going to best elevate your strength while supporting your challenges or your weaknesses is going to give you more of a strengthened roadmap as you continue down your career path. Now, the threats, those external negative factors, again, stay on top of what is going on with your industry. The best way to turn a threat into an opportunity is awareness and understanding the trends, and the knowledge that you need to keep learning is the most important thing that you're going to get out of today's session. I also want you to work on building those relationships around you, like I said, to help balance out those strengths and those weaknesses, to help increase your job security. Studies show that those who have strengthened internal relationships with their coworkers, with their department heads, who know how to play the game, because it has been said in here many times before, it is to a degree a little bit about who you know, but that does not mean you have to come from a background of already knowing someone. Building those relationships is the first place, and that's going to be really key in supporting you in your current role and potentially future roles down the road. When it comes to using the SWOT analysis to land your next job, this is all going to be about your own awareness. This is how you can Find ways to highlight your strengths on your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your elevator pitch, the way you talk about yourself. Focus on the things that work well. I also want you to, identify roles and opportunities that are going to really support the things that you are a powerhouse with, right? When it comes to your weaknesses, avoid future roles that are going to be all about those things that you consider your gaps. I want you to think about what can you be gaining? Where are those gaps? Having an awareness around that is going to say, okay, what courses can I take? What certifications? What do I need to focus on how I position these weaknesses in, say, an interview, which we'll get to in just a second. But, when it comes to strengths and weaknesses, it's all around awareness. One of my favorite exercises that if you've hung around with career transformation partners for any amount of time, you will have heard us talk about this, is the decoding of job descriptions. And what we have our clients do is break down a job description into, it's 4 categories, but I'm going to give you 3, and then there's a bonus guy at the end. You're going to start with green. Green are the things that are your superpowers, your rock star strengths, right? These are the things that we know based on everything that you've done in your career that you can prove without a doubt. Second category is yellow. Yellow are the things that maybe bridge your strength and your weakness. Maybe it's something that you have some transferable skill around. It's not 100%, but this is something that I can speak to this, but it's not necessarily my powerhouse area. And then, of course, we've got the red. And red are going to fall squarely into that weakness category. Reds are the things that are your gaps. You just don't have them. As confident as you are about the green, you are equally confident that you do not have red. Okay? From there, I did give you a 4th category. Blue is the category that you are going to use when you are highlighting that is going to say, hey, I can do that, but I really don't want to. Okay? So what this exercise is great for doing when you're looking at your next job is to say, hey, where are my strengths? Where are my weaknesses? Where are the things that I could kind of move closer to strength from weakness? And then what are the things I want to stay away from? This is squarely going to help you really understand what you want to navigate and what you want to move away from, right? And when it comes to that 4th category, that blue, I want you to really think about what are the things that you want to move away from, okay? And what this is going to help you do is influence the opportunities. It's going to help you expand and narrow your search. It's going to help you really pinpoint and target where you're going. So when we start thinking externally, I want you to look at both what your strengths and weaknesses are and how you can navigate that based on growing industries, how you can really move into the things that are going to serve you best. I also want you to think about emerging job roles. What is changing within the industry? This is the opportunity to learn skills around, AI and automation tools and what is changing in your industry at any given time. Okay. Networking, referrals, informational interviews is a perfect example of an opportunity in any job search. In 2024, if you are using a click and submit structure for your job search, you are going to find that your job search is taking much longer. You can no longer just click and submit for jobs. You need to be focused on getting out from behind the proverbial application and focus on who are you talking to? How are you making connections? Who are you having informational conversations with? Okay. When it comes to threats, those negative external forces, these are the things I want you to focus on how you're strategizing and adapting and turning those threats into opportunities, right? Recognizing the threat can create an opportunity. I want you to do a ton of research and make sure that you are adjusting your strategy accordingly. And I also want you to come up with a plan B. What are some maybe in-demand skills that you can be learning and exploring? What are your side gigs? What are the things that are going to address each of the threats that you have established, and how can you turn that into an opportunity? Applying that is going to help you be able to take the opportunity sector and apply it to how you're maximizing your strength, supporting your weakness, and minimizing the threats, right? That opportunity sector is the most important piece of the puzzle. You need to have the awareness of the other three, but you use the opportunity to make a plan. Now, when it comes down to an interview, a very tactical piece of the job search process, but you can do all of these other things right. You can come up with the best plan. You can network and seize every opportunity. You can have the most dialed in resume, LinkedIn profile, but your interview is where you bring it home. Your interview is the thing that gets you the golden ticket, right? So I wanted to call this out specifically. When it comes to implementing your SWOT analysis for an interview, I want you to focus on how you are taking your strengths and applying them to the job description. I want you to make sure you are using very specific skill examples like the STAR method to demonstrate those top skills and how they apply to the role you're targeting. Okay. When it comes to weaknesses, it's pretty similar. You're still going to need to articulate how your weaknesses are something that you can navigate. I need you to be honest. Nobody wants to hear the old adage of, gosh, I just care too much. No, be honest. And if I care too much really means I tend to be very hands-on and have maybe been called a micromanager once or twice. You need to find a more, strategic way of saying that, but give an example and show how you have learned and grown and changed as a result of being open-minded and aware of your weaknesses. I want you to showcase how you seize opportunities. This is a time to discuss how you've adapted, how you have learned new skills, how you've taken initiative, how you have utilized your powerhouse strength. The opportunity here is to use these other three areas to your advantage, showing your awareness, your research, what you know about what's coming down the pipeline, what you know about yourself in terms of the strengths and the challenges you have. I want you to be able to demonstrate and showcase how that is going to support the company. For better or for worse, everybody has weaknesses, but it's how you have learned and how you've navigated them, right? I also want you to show enthusiasm for the company's opportunities. So a SWOT analysis, as we've talked about, is an excellent personal activity, but it all started with companies doing this for their own assessments. As you're going into an interview, conduct a little SWOT analysis of your own on the company that you are targeting, because that's going to show you, hey, what do they have going on? What is coming down the pipeline? And then, of course, you should be showing enthusiasm for future opportunities at the company. What is going on that you're excited about? What do you need to be aware of? It's going to help spark some conversation. That can, of course, look like addressing threats proactively. Be prepared to discuss some things that might be a little bit sticky, right? But this is going to show your resiliency, your adaptability to challenging situations. Now, you may have listed in your threats some things like employment gaps. You may have addressed things that are maybe industry changes, career changes, shifts. Having an awareness of that is going to help you turn that threat, that thing that has happened, that weakness maybe, and turn that into something that is going to show why that still makes you a compelling candidate. If you can say, my experience across these industries really influences A, B, and C, and how that connects to the role, that's going to serve you so much better than ignoring it and clamming up when the question inevitably comes up. Okay. So like I've said, when you're looking at these 4 quadrants, it is all about how you are strengthening the power of your strengths. You're utilizing your superpower strengths. You are supporting your weaknesses. And then you are seizing the opportunity to do both of those things while also having an awareness and a plan for those threats. And that's it. From insight into action, this is your career and your strategy. I really want you to take away from this that a SWOT analysis is like a GPS. It is not a one-stop shop. It is not hey, I'm going to put it all out there and then it's just going to give you, that's it. Implementation is absolutely key. This is a first stop on the road, right? Now, when you do this, you're probably going to say, oh my gosh, there's so many things. Where do I even start, right? This can also oftentimes look like a bit of a brain dump, but at the end of the day, what I want you to look and say is, what can I tackle right now? No, you're not going to be able to run out and grab that PMP certification and go and network with 10 people and apply for 50 jobs. You can't do everything at once. Please don't try. Start with one thing, because a small step is going to lead to big impact. And the awareness is what this exercise is all about. Thanks for joining us for Just Ask Julia. My name is Liz Helton, and we are Career Transformation Partners. If you like what you've heard today and are looking for some more support and feeling a little less like you're shouting into the void of a job search, I encourage you to check out the QR code here or the link in the description below where you can join our career transformation community. This is a platform that we have launched this year that is bringing tools, insights, trends, a network of professionals, live coaching, and on-demand resources to help you accelerate and turn 2025 into your best year yet. It's community.careertransformationpartners.com or the QR code right here. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.